Remember going to country school, and did you take your lunch along?
Yes, we did. Mother had 4 lunch buckets to fix, and she baked all the bread. And she had to bake on Saturday and on Thursday. And that was quite a bit of work to get all of the lunches fixed every morning, and then come home from school and wash all the school buckets.
What did she fix for lunch?
Well, if we certain time of the year we had the summer sausage, we liked that best. But then if we had summer sausage every day, then we wouldn't have enough for other times. So we had to have jam sometimes, or sometimes we buy bologna or something like cheese.
Did you have peanut butter?
Yes, we had the peanut butter that never came in, and we had a taste of it, and we loved it, and we wanted to put peanut butter sandwiches every day. And after about so long, we were so tired of it, we never wanted to see peanut butter again. But at first it tasted so good, but we got tired of it.
So Uncle Paul was the baby of the family.
Yes, he was.
Was he spoiled?
We didn't think so, but I think I think Mother thought so. He was a cute little baby. He had blonde and curly hair, and he was real nice, like a little sister almost.
The girls probably like to take care of a little younger brother.
We all love little Paul.
Yeah. Huh. So, what did you do on Sundays?
Well, the first thing in the morning, we had to hurry around so we got to Sunday school on time. Because our church was on the corner of our land. It was a quarter mile away. But we always had to be in Sunday school early. And then we stayed for the Sunday school and then church. And after church, we had dinner, And as I said, we were always glad if we got company in the afternoon. Sometimes we did, and sometimes not. But Dad never wanted to go away very much. He didn't know any of those people before we moved there. Of course, Mother had lived there. She knew everybody. So it was a little. Dad just would like to sit home and read the paper after dinner. But
He had a German paper, I suppose.
And so yes.
Yeah. I remember we couldn't hardly visit with Grandpa because he couldn't speak English.
No,
He never wanted to learn, huh?
Well, I guess he thought he could. Well, there was enough German around; he could talk German to all the older people.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hard because we children couldn't talk German, and so but we made it.
You couldn't speak English at first, huh?
Not till after we went
to school. Uh-huh. Yeah.
And Miss Larry was our teacher for years.
Oh.
She was an Irish, and we were all German kids. She didn't know, and all the kids when they started school, they didn't know any English at all. So I think they just seemed like little dummies to her.
So, how'd you get to school?
We walked, of course, a mile and a quarter.
Did Grandpa ever have to take you when the horse and?
Well, when there's a snowstorm or something, but otherwise we walked to school and after school. There's a mile and a quarter. That was quite a ways for little children with short legs.
Was it warm at school? Did they have a stove then?
Yeah, we had a stove in one end of the school. They put wood in and some coal. And Miss Larry was our teacher for years. She was Irish. And she couldn't understand any German. And on the first year we went to school, I think she thought we sure were little dummies. We had a hard time learning the English.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because when we wanted to talk English, like around the table, they'd say, "Sprech Deutsch," talk German.
Yeah. And
so we just got to talk English at school. And we had an Irish teacher. She had a hard time with all the beginners. None of them could talk English.
Yeah. Did you have quite a few in school?
We had around 60.
Oh, 60.
Mhm.
Just one teacher?
Well, at first it was one teacher, and there were fewer children, and then it just seemed that more moved in, and then we had two. They built an end to the school, made two-room school, and two teachers.
So you lived on a farm?
Oh yes,
So what did you raise on the farm?
oats and some barley, and lots of hay because we had many cows and horses, and that took a lot of hay. And after some years, we had the hay baled. That was easier because we had to pile it way up in the barn. And in order to get there, they had the load of hay, and then they had a great fork they stuck in there, and then it was fastened to some ropes, and then the horses pulled that rope and pulled that up from the wagon and into the barn. And so it was quite a job to make hay, and we had raised wheat and rye.
Did Grandpa had a hired man?
Yes, at first we did until Uncle Carl got older. My mother helped quite a bit outside, but well, of course we always milked a lot of cows, and mother always went out to milk, and when we got older, we all had to help milk, and the younger ones had to stay in the house and wash the dishes and sweep the floor.
So Uncle Paul, did he get by with not doing much then?
I think we kind of babied him.
Yeah.
He was a nice little baby, and he had curly. His hair was real blonde in the middle, but he got a little darker. But he was a nice little boy.
Yeah.
We all loved him.
Yeah. So let's see, what else? You had apple trees and
We had
fruit trees?
We had many apple trees, and I think there were 32 trees. It seems to me like
32 trees?
it was a large orchard, and we had apples to sell. We would pick apples the evening before, and then early the next morning. But they were put them in the milk wagon, and then we had to in the morning sack them up so they could take the milk to the factory. It was quite a job. And then would go to town, and the older kids would have to go along, and then and we started out early and had lots of apples in a wagon. And then we kids would have to go to the door and hold a nice apple, have to knock nice. And when they came to the door, we'd say, "Would you like to buy some home baked apples, home raised baked apples?" And they looked nice. And they were good apples. And they I think took pity on us kids too. They bought some from us, and we didn't charge very much.
You said Grandma made a lot of apple butter, huh?
Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm.
You ate that on your
We
bread.
ate that on our bread. We just had jelly for Sunday, for supper, or when we had company. Otherwise, it was just apples,
Mhm.
and we had cherry trees. We had mother made apples cherry sauce, and
You had a cherry pitter, did you, to pit your cherries?
at first we didn't, but then we got one later. But it was sort of old-fashioned when I look now. But it tore up the cherries, whereas if we just squeezed the seed out where the night apple and the seed, the cherries were nicer for sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And she canned some so we could have cherry pie.
Did you have any pets? A dog or?
An outside dog. Sport, I think Sport was his name. And then we always had a little dog in the house because sometimes we had when stealing went on, people steal things, and the dog was a one. When he heard anything, he'd bark.
Oh,
And then,
people did that in those days too, huh?
yes,
So-
they sure did.
Hmm.
But that dog was very important.
Did you have to help milk cows
Oh,
too?
yes. The older ones all had to help, they all milk, and the younger ones had to stay in the house and wash the dishes and sweep the floor.
Hmm.
Yeah, we all had to do that. And then that milk was put in big cans, and it had a sieve. And then they took it to the milk factory in those big cans. And then Dad would bring whey. Well, they made cheese there, and they had whey, the juice from when they put the butter. They had to make the butter separate from the.
Did you make cottage cheese too?
Oh yes, we made it like cottage cheese, but then we had to make that from when we saved milk out,
Uh-huh.
and.
Did you girls have to cook too? Or did Grandma do most of the cooking?
Grandma did most of it, but we had to help. As we got older, we had to help, and we always had to do the dishes and sweep the floor, and had to scrub the floor on our hands and knees.
And you had to go work for some people too, didn't you?
Yes, we had to work. We didn't earn very much, but we were good babysitters. I mean, that the mother in the house, that she could get her work done, we had to take care of the kids. And
did you live there with the people?
yeah, we stayed there.
Hmm.
And we stayed with quite a few different kids, and we did take them for walks, and we had to play with them and keep them out of the mother's way so she could get her work done. And we had to do some cleaning too. We always had to clean up Grandma's. After school on Friday, we girls would have to stop at Grandma's and clean the living room and the 2 bedrooms. And on Saturday morning, we had to go to Grandma's and clean the kitchen and the dining room and pantry. And then we'd have to go to our minister's house at about 10 o'clock, and had to do all the cleaning there and eat dinner with them. And so we earned, I think we already got a quarter for helping at the minister's. And for Grandma's, we just did it because she was Grandma. But it was a good experience for us to learn to work for others. And then I stayed with Jokes was their name. They had a milk factory, and they had 2 little boys, and they needed help. And so I was with them quite a while, and had to stay with them and wash the dishes and do whatever had to be done.
Okay, let's see.
And something we had a lady that belonged to our church. She was a music teacher. She never married, and so she had us learn singing, and she was our piano teacher, and that was good. But we all the girls learned to play the piano, and Elsie and I were able to play by ear.
Tell us how you got your piano.
How was that? There was a store in Manitowoc. Esch was the name, ESCH, and they were cousins of my mother, and they had a store, and then they had a contest, and whoever won got the right ticket got a piano. So to this day, I think that his mother worked for them in their home. So mother knew them, and they didn't know us children well, but then they knew we were related, and I'm sure that was fixed so that we got the ticket and got a free piano. I'll
Oh,
never forget the day that the dad went with a big wagon and they loaded that piano up. It came on a train.
it was a new piano?
Oh, yes, it was a new piano.
Wow.
And there was, I don't know if there was anybody in the congregation that had a piano. They had old organs. We had an old organ too. But we learned to play, and a lady belonged to our church. She was a music teacher, and we got to take lessons, $1 a lesson.
Mm.
And she found out that I didn't know real music, that I played by ear. Sometimes I got scolded for that.
Oh,
I added some more notes where there weren't very many. I thought it sounded better.
yeah. Well, I bet you're glad now
Oh,
that
yes.
it's play by ear. You don't need music.
I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
And Lydia, she was always a little put out that she couldn't do that because we just grew up together like twins almost.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we girls didn't inherit any of that either. Playing by ear.
right, I'll just have to say it was a gift from God.
Yes, I think so.
It was very helpful to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Why don't you shut it off again? So, Mother, did you have lots of boyfriends?
No,
No? What was that? You had somebody's pin. Carl Hess, or who was that? Remember you had his fraternity pin? Yeah.
no, I don't remember that.
Yes, we girls remember that. Yeah. Remember how you met Daddy?
Yes. I was invited to Franzmeyer's. They, he had Paul Franzmeyer went to the mission house. And of course, a lot of the boys couldn't go home for Thanksgiving. And so he brought several boys home, brought them home on Wednesday. And then we were invited for dinner. There's a couple of girls around there, young girls, and Franzmeyer, of course, they had their girls. But anyway, that's how I met Daddy then. And then we had early supper. I had to leave home. I leave for home early because it was Grandma's birthday, and always on Thanksgiving Day. And then my Grandma had company, and Mother would have to fix the lunch and stuff. And so I had to leave early, and so Daddy walked me home. We got midway home, and here they had to play, and at the end, the mission house, the boys had to play ball, and Daddy was in that. And here they came to pick up the boys. See, that's my boy was one of them too. And here he wasn't there, so the girl had to drive down to Arley, and he was on his way back, but he walked midway home.
It was snow, huh?
On his quarter. And then at the ball game, I guess he had a heart condition. But anyway, he just fainted sometimes.
Passed out, huh?
Yeah, he did. But it was too much. That was too far. We walked 1.25 miles, and he was on his way back when he picked him up. So maybe he'd walked 2 miles. But that was beginning of our love life.
You were 16?
Yeah. And then I thought that was the end of that. But then here, the first week in December, here came a Christmas card. And it said, although we seldom see each other, let's keep our hope of meeting and send to each other a Merry Christmas greeting.
Oh, haven't memorized yet, huh?
Yes. That was really a big thrill.
Did you send him one then?
Yes. After I got one, I had to send one to him. That wasn't very hard to do. But that was the beginning of our.
When did you see him again then?
Well, I don't know, I don't remember for sure, because he had to go home then for Christmas. But he said, he wrote to me, I know. So I don't know if I said, I don't think I got this, I don't believe I got to see him till Valentine's Day, or around that time. I know I got a Valentine from him.
You were working in the hospital too, weren't you, with Aunt Martha, or
Yeah,
was that during that time?
you know,
Where was that at?
well, I don't know if that was right at that time, I wasn't working there then yet.
Oh, okay.
See, and Lydia and I were both nurses' aides.
Yeah.
It was a good experience.
You worked in the men's ward.
Yeah, we were little new nurses, we were. And that was always killing the boy crazy. And so I had to take care of the men. She had to take care of the women. She didn't like that very well.
When did Grandpa propose to you then?
When was that now? We met on Thanksgiving Day. And I got the first card in December. But I got a beautiful Valentine. But I don't remember just where. I think maybe my birthday, that'd be the next April, probably in that time.
So how old were you when you got married then?
20. And
You were just turned 20.
yeah. And one of the thrills was that he wanted me to meet his people.
His family.
His family in Indiana. And so I had to take a train to go to Indiana. And his brother and wife lived there, and he was there and picked me up. And then he went to his mother lived in Ohio. We went there and sort of, I guess they wanted him to have me come to see if I'd be all right for their Arthur.
Were his brothers around too? You got to meet them and his sister?
Bill and Otto were on the farm.
Mhm.
And Walter was young yet. He was in high school, I think. And we got along real nice. And his mother was real nice. And I helped her with the dishes and helped wherever I could. I was used to doing that all the time, always helping wherever I could. And I guess she thought I would be all right, but one thing always bothered me that I didn't get to go to high school even. And but then
In those days, a lot of people
no,
didn't go.
hardly anybody went to high school.
No.
Roosevelt did, but they had their dad was a mailman. He had a little more education. That's why he got to be a mailman, and they got to go to high school. But Yannings or Kreutzmann, none of them went to high school.
Well, I think you learned a lot on your own. You could always spell better than we could.
I won second prize in state spelling contest.
Wow.
But yeah, that was easy for him. But I sure hated arithmetic.
Yeah,
But I worked hard on
I
that.
did too. What were your grandparents like?
They were loved by people. Grandma and Grandpa both. And Grandma was from the Gorsuch family. The Gorsuch was a large family, good Christian people. And her mother was a Gorsuch. And they were just lovely people. Well, some of them became ministers, and Grandpa Beerhouse was a good man too. And they had company one time. This man was from let me see, how was it? her house. What was that now? Anyway, some man, educated man, visited Aunt Martha's there to see Uncle Fritz Wixer married Aunt Scylla. That was Aunt Martha's brother, and he was visiting there. And how was that? He asked one day, how his name was Stolz. That means proud. And ours was Beer House, and then and we were visiting, or I was invited to Franz Mars, and he was there, and he said, "How come your name is Beer House?" But no, it was son. It wasn't that man, but someone that was visiting us, and he said, "How come your name, your grandpa and grandma's name Beer House?" Yeah, that's right. He was visiting from New York. How come your name is Beer House? And I never saw no beer around here, he said. And his name was Stolz, that means proud. And Grandma had an answer right away. She said, "Well, how come your name is Stolz? You're not proud." She always had an answer. But they were good Christian people, there's no doubt about that.
Did they come over from Germany then? Or did their parents come from Germany?
Grandpa,
Yes.
I think Grandpa did. I think Grandma was born in Wisconsin. I'm not sure, but I think it was. Yeah, the groceries were. And the church was built on the southeast corner of our farm. Great grandpa gave the land for the church and the cemetery. They were on the corner of our land.
Did Uncle Paul like to ride horses?
Yes, and Paul was just sort of special. Grandpa, I think, he really loved his little Paul. He was a nice little boy. And when he was, I don't know, maybe 15 or 16, he bought him a little horse. He wasn't a pony, really. It was a little bigger. But we didn't really resent it, but we thought it wasn't right that Paul should get a horse. And we didn't get anything. And so we had a lot of fun riding that horse.
So, are there other things you want to talk about that you remember? Did you go swimming in the creek?
Not really swimming. I should go barefoot.
Barefoot and catch frogs and things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Go fishing?
and we fish, and we go after supper in the evening, and we kids would have to go along. We'd have to have a stick, and we'd touch the water, and the one my older brother would have a net. He was a ditch. They were great big dishes, and held that net, and then we would we would come over there, and we start to touch the water. The fish would go down through, and then get in the boat, and then the water, and they couldn't get any further. That's how we got our fish.
Yeah.
And Franzmeyer, of course, Paul Franzmeyer was going to Mission House too, and that's how I met Daddy. He brought a couple boys home for Thanksgiving, and then it was after church on Thanksgiving morning. He said they're going to have a little party this afternoon. We'd like to have you come. And that's how I met Daddy. I know someone else said, I asked, why didn't they invite you for dinner? I said, well, that's a different story. Why, they had a house full of people with their own family, and then they had several boys. No, they didn't do that much that they invited them for dinner like that. If they invited them, it was a special, But we went in the afternoon, we had supper there. And then they would fix, sandwiches. We had like meat sandwiches and cheese sandwiches.
Did you ever see Daddy play basketball?
It was quite a while till I saw him. I don't remember how I got to it. The mission house was quite a ways away from our place. See, we didn't have a car. Carl had a Ford Roadster.
Daddy used to have a motorcycle, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And you rode in the sidecar?
Did I?
Yeah, I remember talking about riding in the sidecar.
That's what we had first.
How did you take baths and stuff? Did you bring water in?
Yeah.
And
Well, we had a cistern in the summer kitchen.
mhm.
We'd have to fish it out with a bucket, and then we'd have to heat up in the boiler on the stove. But the kids all had to have the same bath water.
Who got the bath first? Paul?
Older ones.
Oh.
But when they got 13, 14, then then the boys and girls didn't bathe at the same time. They were very strict about that.
How often? Like once a week or a couple times a
Evening.
Saturday evening?
They changed clothes then too, Saturdays, huh?
And clean clothes Sunday morning.
So
Washing was quite a job. And the machine, you had to push it, pull the wheel, and had to get the water out of the cistern for washing, and the water to rinse was from outside for the well, because the cistern wasn't big enough to have rinse water too.
So Grandma made her soap too?
Oh yes, she made her soap, and we had a big boiler that we put on the stove in the summer kitchen. And that's where we took our baths in the summer kitchen. And there was a cistern in the corner of the room that we got the rainwater that we used for baths.
Did you have a winter kitchen then too? If you have a summer kitchen, do you have a winter one?
But
Did you have a winter kitchen then? If you have a summer kitchen, do you have a winter kitchen?
no,
No, it was just,
this was if it got so awfully hot, then we use a stove in the summer kitchen. Didn't have to heat the whole house. But it was wasn't a very good stove.
You did your canning out there in the summer kitchen? Or you did that in the house?
Yeah. Because the summer kitchen stoves were smaller and couldn't have big water with all the jars.
Grandma always had a big garden, I suppose.
Oh yes. And I think 32 apple trees. Some were the trees or the seeds were from Germany, but they were from Germany. They were different apples than a lot of our neighbors had. Really nice apples.
did you have to work most of the day to help?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And the older girls would have to leave after school on Friday evening and stop and clean the front room and the front bedroom. And Saturday morning, we'd have to go at 7 o'clock. We'd have to clean the kitchen and the dining room and the pantry. And we did that early. No, after school Friday. And Saturday morning, we'd have to go and wash up the kitchen floor, and there was an entry. We did it. We did the living room We did the living room and the bedrooms Friday after school. And Saturday morning, 7 o'clock, we had to go to Grandma's to clean Grandma's. Or did we do it after school at Grandma's?
Did you have to take the rugs out and beat them? Like in the
And we
living
clean
room?
house. And hang them on the line. And it said, but then they weren't big rugs like they have now. But,
Well,
but
Did you do that once a week or,
once a week?
and you used to do spring cleaning and fall, didn't you?
Spring and fall.
Wash the woodwork and
Oh,
everything?
yeah. Mhm.
That was a job.
Well, we all had to take our turn with milking. The younger ones stayed in the house and did the supper and did the breakfast dishes. We always had to take our school. Grandma had 4 lunch buckets to fix the sandwich for school, so that meant had to bake the bread twice a week. Usually on, I think on Wednesday and Saturday.
You had a lot of coffee cake and things
Yeah,
like that.
coffee.
What did you have for your lunches for school?
Well, after we butchered, we had, they made summer sausage, and we loved that, but then we couldn't have that all the time, because then we wouldn't have enough left. So we had to have jam breads, the other way days, or when peanut butter came in, then we had, that was a treat for us. And we wanted peanut butter sandwiches, but after about so long, we had it up to here. We didn't think we ever wanted to see much of peanut butter again.
Did you take fruit along too? What did you have besides sandwiches? Apples?
Apples?
Did you have milk that you could take?
No.
Just drank water there at school?
Yeah.
You have a dipper, you dipped out of a
Yeah.
bucket and drank,
Drank
everybody
out
drank
of
the
that
same. Boy, you couldn't do that nowadays.
No. There's very little sickness, so
Yeah.
What time did you have to be at school?
9 o'clock,
And what time was it over? Yeah.
4. Walked a mile and a quarter.
Did some have horses and they tied them up all day till they went home? No?
I think there were probably a few from lived in the Catholic neighborhood and lived further away. I think some of them had one horse, but not very many. Most of us walked. A lot of leather off our shoes. Dad learned how to put new soles on our shoes. Kept him busy. All our shoes. He was real good at it.
So you wore long underwear?
Oh, yes.
You didn't wear slacks in those days?
Did your mom make all your clothes?
Most of them. When she was young, they went to sewing school, and she was learning that in winter. Then she stayed with mother's cousin Eshes. They had a department store, and we stayed there and we helped with helped the lady in the house, and we took lunch to school. We'd go to their place at 7 o'clock, and then we were to work I think till 8:30, and then walk a mile and a quarter, a mile. She was our music teacher. And then Esther and Clara took lessons first, and then Lydia and I. And she's who knew where I could play by ear. That I put notes in that weren't on the table.
She didn't want you to do that, huh?
Or she wanted me to be sure to be able to read me.
So did your brothers go? Your brothers didn't get to go to high school either, or no? What did they?
Uncle Paul did.
Uncle Paul did.
He went to mission house. Went up at that, graduated from there.
That was kind of an academy, that was the high school.
Did he have to live there then?
Yeah, he lived there while school was going on. Was home in summer.
Mm.
It's the only one.
And Uncle Paul went in the Army, or Air Force, didn't he? Army Air Corps, they called it. Yeah. I remember when he came to Alleman, he was in the, well, I don't know if he had just gotten out, but he gave Eileen and I a pair of gold wings that he had when he was in the Air Corps. We were so proud of those wings. Yeah. He was handsome. I remember when I was young, but Uncle Paul was a handsome man with his curly blonde hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Now Martha's going to play the organ in the Alzheimer's where she usually plays. Are you gonna play it like Sweet By and By?
What?
In the Sweet By and By? Use your feet. Can you play Ivory Palaces? Don't. Okay. Amazing Grace.
Okay, let me just think a minute.
Okay.
Hello, Paul. Happy birthday. I hope you have a happy day and a blessed year ahead. I wish that you could be where we are and celebrate with us, but that can't be, so we'll think of you and remember you in our prayers. Have a happy birthday. Love, Grandma.